Well. Good morning, everybody. I pray you had a restful and peaceful sleep last night. Today is a brand new day for us to think, to grow, to do those things that are important to us, and that, of course, to do those things that motivate, develop, cultivate the new leaders for this present age and for years to come. We've got many new challenges. We've got many new things that are happening in our world, but it is my conviction that we have never had a challenge that, if faced squarely, directly, we could not overcome. It is my belief that if a challenge or controversy arises, you or someone in this world has the wherewithal to meet that challenge appropriately and cause a paradigm shift, cause a resolution in those circumstances and situations. One thing that I have never forgotten, I learned a long time ago: leadership is valuable, leadership is important, leadership exists so that direction can be given and demonstrated to help people make their way through. So I'm an avid reader of the leading ideas as part of the Wesley website, John Wesley I'm talking about, and the Wesley Theological Seminary's website. And I came across an article this week by Doug Poe. He's the director of the Lewis Center for Church Leadership, and James C. Logan, chair of Evangelism. And he wrote this article, 8 Factors That Make You a More Influential Leader. And I thought we would discuss them this morning. I want to share a few insights as I read his work. And I find it very enlightening. And I think it will help us as we navigate through this present dilemma. It has been said that leaders navigate, they show the way, they know the way, and they show the way. You don't need a leader to show you how to get to your bedroom, because that's your bedroom. You know all the ways to get into your bedroom. You don't need a leader to show you how to get to your job. I mean, not after the first time, because you have GPS and because you've learned the way, you've been going to your place of work for quite some time. But you need a leader to show you how to get to the places you've never gone, or to show you how to take detours if the way you've always gone has been obstructed. You need someone to lead you. Now, in navigation, we call on GPS and we trust GPS, but we also realize that we do need leaders if we're going to be able to have peace, tranquility. So then, let's think about it now. John Maxwell says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Influence, then, is the gateway to you becoming relevant as a leader where you are. If you cannot influence anyone, then you won't be able to lead them very far. So when we talk about 8 factors that make you a more influential leader, we're talking about expanding your reach, expanding your base of influence, making you a more trusted and more relied on individual to help people through their turbulent times. John Maxwell also says everything rises and falls on leadership. Think about that. even in this pandemic, we've seen examples of a void in leadership. President Trump delegated the authority for most of this pandemic to others and allowed others to give directions, and it became quite confusing. Information became quite convoluted, and really people didn't know what to do. So then the governors of the states took charge of their states and began to lead their citizens through this pandemic. And because of that leadership, now we have people who are more able to deal with the pandemic than they were in the beginning. You cannot abdicate your role as a leader in times of peril and expect others to just navigate their way through. They look to their leader for direction. I'm hoping that our discussion today will help you, if you're a leader, help you understand that you cannot abdicate your role simply because you may or may not know what to do yourself. There are things that you must do even during a pandemic as a leader that will make the difference to those who follow you, who trust you, and who look to you for guidance. So let's get into this article that Brother Poe wrote, and let's see how we can agree or disagree or enhance what he has written as his 8 factors. And I'm looking at these in light of, in view of the pandemic. In view of the pandemic, that's what we're talking about. So then he says, first of all, there's a difference between who is in charge and who has influence. The person in charge may have authority by virtue of the title or position. The person with influence may have it by virtue of wisdom, expertise, age, financial support of the institution, and so on. He says title and position may allow you to make decisions and give commands, but influence is required to move a community in a different direction. Why is this key? Because this pandemic that we're experiencing requires the type of leader that can give directions and can be followed. Directions that are clear, concise, bold, vigorous, and enabling and empowering to those who fall under that leader's purview. So he says in this article, let me give you 8 factors that will help you improve, widen, expand your leadership. And the first factor he talks about that is necessary if you're going to be a leader of influence is your relationships. You cannot be an outstanding leader and not do your best to develop yourself to learn how to work with others and through others. In other words, it is relationships. Your networks must include those who are like-minded and who have leadership qualities and traits that will develop you. Someone has said, if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. Whether that's true or not, I can't say, because I've never been the smartest one in the room. I've always been a part of a network, a group of people who always had ideas. Sometimes my ideas and theirs would clash, and clash terribly. Sometimes maybe we would have a dispute of the magnitude of Paul and Peter when they were having their controversy over whether Mark was appropriate to continue on the mission field. But it never fails that leaders always see things from a leadership perspective, whereas those who are not leaders wouldn't even see the little nuances that exist because they don't have the eyes of a leader. So relationships, your networks are key if you're going to improve and enhance your influence among those you lead. How do you, well, let me ask it this way. How have your interpersonal skills, interpersonal relationship skills improved? How have you developed them so that you can also develop your relationships and become a more influential leader? There are many who think that they are right, not once, not twice. There are many who think that they are the smartest one in the room. There are many who refuse not to have the last word. But my question is, who is around you in times of difficulty? Who is advising you? Who are your advisors? Because without those relationships, without those other leaders around you, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities for your personal growth and the growth of your team, those who are looking to you for counsel and advice. Stories told of a father who told his son to go and move a big rock from one place to another. And his son attempted to move that stone all day long. He used a leveling technique. He used the analysis, problem-solving technique. He did all that he was supposed to do, that he had learned to do in school. But at the end of the day, that stone was still there. He had not touched the surface. He hadn't moved that stone, not one iota. And so he came back to his father and said, Father, you put me at a disadvantage. I use every resource at my disposal to remove this stone where you wanted it, but I have not. With all that I know, all the relationships I have at present, I've not been able to remove the obstacle, to remove the stone. And his dad said, well, son, you haven't used all your resources. His son sort of scratched his head and says, how can you say that? What do you mean? He said, well, you never asked me to help you, and I've been with you all day. What does that say? Sometimes people that we discount as resources are amongst our greatest relationships and greatest resources. Never underestimate the people around you, no matter their socio-economic status, whatever. Never underestimate the gifts and graces that are in each individual on this planet. There are gifts within them that they haven't even discovered yet. Never count them out. We are in 2022, will be electing bishops in the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church. What a time. What a time. And I dare say that some of the candidates are diamonds in the rough. And some people will concentrate on the rough rather than the diamond. Some people will concentrate on their present status rather than their potential if allowed to fully develop. And I dare say that leaders who can spot gifts and graces and talents in individuals are not going to just look at what a person has done or gone through, their trials, their joys, and all that. They're going to be looking at what does this individual have as a gift, as a potential that can be developed, which will bless the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church. Yes, they may be rough right now, naive in certain areas, misunderstand certain polity and that sort of thing, but are they teachable? Which is one of the key things that you look for in a person who strives to assume leadership in that capacity. You need to know whether they are teachable and adaptable and can change for the better, because where they are is certainly not where they're going to end up. So relationships, develop those relationships. And I would say that you need some relationships that will be tense or strenuous to maintain, because maybe that person that you need the relationship with, who has that leadership capability that you need to develop, is gruff, rough, not pleasing, not comfortable to be around. They may be a general pattern or something like that, but you need that individual to fully develop. So don't limit yourself to just those you like, those who think like you think. Develop relationships that are conducive to your personal growth. Because I'm here to tell you, you don't want to be who you are as you are 20 years from now. You want to have developed. You want to have grown. Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate that. So relationships are key to making you a more influential leader. And I could add that it is important what people think about you, because the second factor, he says, if you're going to be a more influential leader, is trust. Your relationships will thrive or deteriorate based on those person's ability to trust you. Can you keep confidence? Can you be trusted to do the right thing, even in your private life? Not just your public persona, but in your private life. Are you who you demonstrate to us in public? Or are you a totally different person? And by the way, thanks, Barbara, for joining. Thanks for commenting. It's important that people can trust you, because they allow you to influence them based on their level of trust. You know, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Can I trust you? Do you care about me? And can you help me? Are the three important questions that you must answer within yourself to grow your influence. Ask yourself, can you be trusted? Do you actually care about others? And can you help them? Because if you have nothing to offer, why would you want to lead them? Eventually, your influence is going to totally evaporate, dissipate. Just go. And you'll find yourself in a position where no one's listening to you. And if you're a leader, that's the worst position to be in. Don't allow people to lose confidence and faith in your ability to lead. Some won't believe in you anyway, but if you do something that is going to cause them to disbelieve that you're the leader you say you are, then you're going to have some tough moments, and you're going to have to do something creative to try to reestablish yourself. But that's just a place to grow, not a place to stop. If you've lost some trust, you can rebuild it. Yes, it's going to be painful, because you're going to have to admit that you failed in that endeavor, in that area. But there's nothing wrong with transparency. There's nothing wrong with integrity. Because the third or fourth thing he says about this is that you have to be honest. You blew it. Say so, and then let people know what you're going to do to recover. You blew it. Say so, then let people know what you're going to do to recover. Be honest. Be an honest broker. Do not be a consistent person of mistruths. One of the biblical things or commandments we use said, "Thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not also tell half truths." Thou should be honest. Just be honest. Be genuine. Be who you are. And don't be afraid to be who you are. So you have relationships, you have trust, you have honesty. You see all these being demonstrated by our president. And when I say being demonstrated, I'm not talking necessarily in a positive manner. I'm just saying he's demonstrated his character under this pandemic. He's showing you who he really is. And if you need to pay attention, okay? Now, you have relationships, you have trust, you have honesty. Yes, integrity matters. It does. It does. Nobody minds you falling on your face as long as you keep and maintain your integrity while you're doing it. They will give you the opportunity to get up because America is a get up nation. We believe in people failing, but failing to learn, not failing to stop. We believe that each failure is an opportunity for education. You get the lessons from your failure and you learn those lessons and you go and become great. You don't go back in the house. You don't take your marbles and go home because you're embarrassed. You get up and get back in the race. Get up and get back in the race. Take some time, of course, to critically reflect on how you got where you were and how you failed. But by all means, get up and get back in the race. Don't overanalyze yourself as a leader. That's why relationships are so important. You should have a mastermind group of people that you can call and rehearse things with who will help you stay accountable. And you won't be an overthinker and become self-destructive. So the fourth thing, you have relationship, trust, honesty, and then you have knowledge. You cannot lead people in areas you know nothing about. A leader is supposed to go investigate, explore, experience, do all the wonderful things at that place where they want to lead people to. So as a leader, you have to know what you're doing, where you're going, and why. People will trust you more if they know you know something about what you're saying. I would not trust a dentist to operate on my heart because the dentist, for the most part, is not a cardiac surgeon. I would not trust a fifth grader to drive me around town because for the most part, a fifth grader doesn't know anything about driving. So if you're going to lead and you become an influential leader, you have to be an expert at what it is you're trying to lead people toward or what sphere of life you're trying to lead them in. You have got to study. The Bible says, study to show yourself approved, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Well, it's in the same way you have to study to be a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, a painter, or whatever you intend to do, whatever you sense is your passion in life. Do not try to get there by your gifting alone. Some people are good at painting and they just start painting. They never go to a painting class. Some people play music by ear. They never go to learn music, to write music, to read music, so that they can develop that basic gift that they have. You have to develop that basic gift to become great. Because as long as you just play by ear, you're going to still remain mediocre. Your influence is still going to be small. But if you want to be a person of influence, study music. Not necessarily trying to get a degree in music, but study the craft of the musician. Study the craft of a comedian or an actor or whatever it is you're pursuing. If you want to increase your influence, you got to increase your knowledge base. And you should always know where to go to get the knowledge that you don't have so that you can then refer others. These factors are all critical right now as we're enduring this pandemic. We're looking to Dr. Fauci. We're looking to the CDC. We're looking to Governor John Bel Edwards' team here in Louisiana. Others have their own governors, but we're looking to these people because they have access to information we need to ensure we remain healthy and that our immune system remains vibrant throughout this pandemic. So knowledge is very important. Never be afraid to go back to a continuing education class. You may have a PhD, a doctorate, or whatever, but never allow your brain to become stagnant. Old ideas love stagnant brains. And you'll find yourself trying to teach and practice old ideas in a new world. If your degree is more than 5 years old and you've never been back to school, you're outdated. Your information, quite frankly, is not what you need to move forward as an influential leader. You need to have current knowledge. And you need to have access to it readily. That's why your relationships are so key. You need to be always engaged in a community of excellence of education so that you can attend those focus groups and those webinars and those seminars and those association meetings where you can be kept up to date with the latest knowledge and technology. You cannot be afraid to engage the newness of your field. It's important for your influence as a leader. Don't be known as a person who knows it all. Be known as a person who's seeking to know more and to learn. Never see yourself as the authority on any issue, because I assure you, there are people smarter and wiser than you. You just haven't gotten into the room with them. But when you do, you'll experience what I call personally a brain freeze. People be teaching you so much, your head just seems to swell on the inside, like you can't take any more knowledge today. And then they give you one more tidbit of information and you just explode with joy because you've been illuminated, you've been enlightened. And that's so critical. Knowledge is a key factor that'll make you a more influential leader. And so then Poe says relationships, trust, honesty, and knowledge are keys. But then he goes to the fourth one, or should I say he goes to the fifth one, which is investing in others. If you want to increase your influence as a leader, mentor someone, train someone so that they can do what you do when you're not there. You should be able to take a vacation and your phone never rings, but you are assured that everything is running smoothly because you have invested yourself in someone else. Their method of operation is your method of operation because you trained them, you taught them. Who are you mentoring as a leader? Who have you taken under your wing? And you may take someone that may cause some controversy, may cause some people to talk about you. In one of our leadership sessions at Walden University, we were studying mentoring, and we had to read an article about leaders who mentor women. And because that is so public, and because people's view of a man and a woman's relationship can sometimes become skewed, it's difficult for a man to mentor a woman. But if you see that woman as being your protege or as being the person that can do what you do at the level of excellence and beyond that you do it, and you select that woman, then you're going to have to be bold enough and brave enough to just take the criticism as you still invest yourself in that person. It's not easy being a leader. You have to have Ivy Hilliard from New Light Christian Center Church in Texas says you have to have mental toughness to be a leader. You just can't, you just can't bend and then break over every criticism. You got to have mental toughness to stay the course, to follow your own convictions. And so you have to invest in others, and you must be a trainer. I think that's what Paul told Timothy when he got ready to select people for his cabinet, for his staff. He said that's one of the qualifications. They have to be not only apt to teach, but apt to learn. You don't want anyone in your inner circle who has ceased learning. And all they want to do now is pontificate their way or the highway. You need people who are consistently able to learn and then take that learning and apply it to their lives and apply it to the field and apply it to the way they do things so that they can become better. What you are doing are cultivating them so that their natural giftedness can come forth in greater array. And I mean, just be brilliant. Who are you investing in as a leader? If you want to increase your influence, invest in others, because what? They will make sure that you are seen as the leader you are. If you're having trouble with leaders in your staff, leaders in your team, it first starts from within you. How do you appear to them? Do you appear as someone whose relationships are important, who has the knowledge to do whatever it is they're trying to learn to do and to help them with that? Are you a person of trust, that they can trust, a person that's honest? When you invest all these traits into them through your work and your life, then they will reflect you, and you should not have that many interruptions in the success that you're trying to achieve. So that's the fifth thing, investing in others. We're almost done. Let's look at also, especially in this area of pandemic, a clear direction. If you want to move to becoming an influential leader, you need a clear direction. And this era of pandemic causes some people to falter, to be double-minded, to be unstable, to be fearful, not to act with courage, but to act with timidity. Even though we're unsure about the future and what the focus is going to be, there ought to be some things that a leader is clear on. And that one thing is there will be a tomorrow, whether we're in it or not. So our leadership then has to deal with the hope we engender within those who follow us, that tomorrow is coming, that it's going to be a great future, that we do not know the unknowns. We don't know how long we're going to be under this mask mandate or anything else. We do not know when the vaccine, but we do know that with the precautions in place, we can still do what we are gifted and called to do, and we should do so not with fear, but do so using the guidelines of those who know, so that when our team comes to us, the people we serve, the people we are responsible for come to us, we can give them clear direction, not mixed messages or mixed signals. Be blunt, be direct, tell them the truth, and work within the truth that you know. Clear direction. Don't be this way today and that way tomorrow. It is amazing to me the number of leaders who have been paralyzed by the pandemic. They're cooped up in their homes, not being creative, not doing anything to shift, to accept this new paradigm so that they can still provide the leadership that their team needs. Since I'm a pastor, I can say that their church needs, or that their family needs. Decisive action toward a given objective will always keep people from panicking, having anxiety, and being stuck in a rut. Leaders, when your people come to you, when your family comes to you, when your co-workers come to you, remember I said some people are leaders by title, others are leaders by influence. When they come to you, it's because they value what you're about to tell them. So be decisive, be direct, and keep them focused on the objective. Why you exist, why you do what you do, so that they'll know why they should keep doing what they're doing in support of you or the role or the mission or whatever the subject may be. But whatever you do, do not be paralyzed with fear and not communicate with them, be standoffish from them, be upfront and personal with them. Let them know, listen, these are the knowns, these are the unknowns, and here's the parameters with which we're going to move forward. Because as a leader, you're always moving forward, or you have paused in sabbatical for a time of critical reflection. And there's nothing wrong with that sabbatical, that time for critical reflection. We need it, you need it. It's important. And so then, always as a leader, have a clear direction, clear purpose in mind about where you're going and why you're going there. Okay, next thing. Clear direction. And now we want to talk about flexibility. We want to say to you, be flexible. Flexibility doesn't mean being wishy-washy or indecisive. Instead of just agreeing with the people in the room, a flexible leader takes time to dig more deeply into the issue and learn the underlying cause of the problem in hopes of finding a compromise. That's how you increase your influence. Don't just deal with surface issues. Get behind the surface, get underneath the issue, try to get to the root of the situation, which means you may have to leave the room and get expert advice from others. Enlarge your relationship